If you Google the cost of living in Bowling Green, Kentucky, you'll get numbers that are technically correct, but practically useless. Today, I'm breaking down what it actually costs to live here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, month to month. I'm Nick, a realtor and real estate photographer, and I help tons of people just like you who are thinking about relocating to Bowling Green, Kentucky all the time. And one of the biggest surprises that I always see is the cost of living. So let's talk real numbers. Housing is the biggest variable and the biggest misunderstanding. And I know there's going to be a lot of debate whether you should rent or whether you should buy real estate, because that's one of the most controversial topics in all of real estate. And I personally believe that you should buy real estate if you can afford the means to. And what that means is month to month, you are either going to be paying rent, meaning you are paying monthly, but that monthly payment is going to someone else who is paying down their mortgage. So you are paying the mortgage for someone else whenever you're renting, and that person who is renting the house out to you is building equity in that home. Versus whenever you buy a home, you are also paying a monthly mortgage. It could be a little bit more expensive, and there are a lot of things associated with home ownership, but you, as the owner, get to build that equity. And whenever you build equity, you can use equity, and that's how real wealth is generated. So back to the numbers. The homes here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, on average, range anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000. That's the average median cost of homes in Bowling Green, Kentucky. But like I said, there are variables and things to think about whenever you relocate. What are property taxes? Well, in Bowling Green, we have three different types of taxes. We have city taxes if you live within the city parameters. We have annex, which touches the city line but is on the outside. And then we have county, which is anything beyond that. Those are all variable tax rates that can affect how much money you will be specifically spending on your taxes each year. One of the most underestimated costs in owning a home is insurance. A lot of people don't realize, especially whenever they are relocating, what insurance is going to be like on a property, because it can vary depending on where you are, what type of home that is, how old that home is, but there are specific costs for owning a home and having insurance on that home. And then there is maintenance on a house. If you're owning a home for your personal residence, it is good to either work on projects as you go or to set aside money each month, whether that's 5% of your income, 10% of your income, but something out of each paycheck that you get so that you can set it aside for future expenditures on your house. What happens if you buy a home and 2 years from now, you have a hole in your roof? How are you going to replace that? Or your AC unit busts in the middle of summer whenever it's extremely hot. There are things within maintenance that you need to think about when it comes to owning a home. And you should set aside money each month for the maintenance of your home. Another overestimated living cost in Bowling Green is transportation. Our transportation costs compared to some major cities like New York, Chicago, even Nashville, which is not that far, are a whole lot lower. But that's only if you plan correctly and accordingly. Depending on where you search, where you look for a home, and where you end up buying a home, you could spend a lot more money on gas because of your commute time. And that would even double if you have a 2-car household. And this is where the idea of location comes into play whenever you're looking to relocate to Bowling Green. Because anytime that you can move a little bit closer to places that you will often visit, whether that's churches, schools, specific grocery stores, shopping, restaurants, you can save a little bit of money on your gas and your transportation because of your commute times. And another overlooked cost are groceries and daily expenses. Our groceries and day-to-day expenses here in Bowling Green are reasonable, but they also aren't immune to inflation. One of the best things about Bowling Green whenever it comes to costs is that we have a lot of national chains of fast food restaurants, grocery stores, and hotspots whenever it comes to shopping affordably. But aside from national options, there are also a lot of local options here as well. We have some local farmers markets, we have local clothing and shopping stores, and then there's always the cost-saving debate of eating out versus cooking at home. And there's a big difference between convenience and cost whenever it comes to Bowling Green compared to other large cities. Bowling Green is affordable compared to those larger cities. And I can say from personal experience of living here that Bowling Green is right in the middle of feeling like a big city, but also feeling like a small town. Anybody from Bowling Green will tell you that it doesn't necessarily feel like you're in Nashville or in any other large city, but you for sure don't feel like you're in a tiny town. Bowling Green has just enough to offer while remaining on the reasonable, affordable side of living. So while you save compared to these larger cities, don't expect 2015 prices whenever it comes to groceries and shopping. One of the most overlooked costs, and where I see a lot of people getting surprised, is in utilities and services. And especially if you're a first-time homeowner, you've never thought about the electric that you use in your home or the AC compared in summer to fall whenever you can open doors and windows and let the temperature regulate. There's also a little bit of difference depending on where you live, what your water and sewer costs could be. There are a lot of different internet options whenever it comes to living in Bowling Green, and those are all variable costs depending on where you live, what type of speed you need for your internet, and which provider you go with. And then there's also things like your trash service. But overall, home size and age matter a lot more than people think. But the cost of living whenever you move somewhere isn't just bills, it's lifestyle. And one of the biggest things for families that move here that affects cost of lifestyle is schooling. In Bowling Green, there are a lot of public schools in city and in the county. There are a few different private schools, and there are just different costs depending on which school your kid goes to. And if you are a family, you've got to think about childcare. Childcare isn't free, and oftentimes it's not very cheap. But there are different places in Bowling Green that are more affordable, and then there are other places that may be a little bit more expensive but fit your comfort and what you are looking for to watch over your kid. And then there are recreational things like parks, gyms, and different activities that you like to do. Personally, I love to golf a lot, so I spend a little bit of money each month ensuring that I can go spend some time with my friends and sometimes my family to go play golf and to enjoy myself and enjoy outdoors. And then aside from that, there's also medical access. We have a few different hospitals, a few different ERs, and quite a few different urgent cares here in Bowling Green that all offer different things. But I feel like all of these different amenities is where Bowling Green has its strength compared to other cities. Bowling Green offers a strong value if your expectations are realistic and if your decisions are informed. The people who struggle when relocating aren't the ones who are on a budget. They're the ones who are guessing. If you're trying to figure out whether Bowling Green fits your lifestyle and your budget, book a free call in the link in the description and we can jump on a video call to talk about what you are looking for. And in the next video, I'll break down which neighborhoods fit specific budgets and which ones don't.